So today we're going to be talking about contact dreams, when ETs come and visit you in your dreams.
Welcome to ET Connections. I'm Melanie.
And I'm Ian.
And today we are discussing dream work. What's interesting about dreams is that ETs come here, it's the first line of prepping you for face-to-face contact.
It's a good way for them to see how you'll react to different scenarios and different beings and different actions versus your reactions.
It also allows you to work with them before meeting them face-to-face, so that way you can already start to build a rapport, and they can help train you through scenarios where with working on the subconscious and clearing out fear-based programs.
Oh yeah, we have certainly had multiple contact dreams. She had a couple just about a week or two ago.
So what happened, I had been asked, would you like to do some dream work? I agreed. For 2 nights, I had contact work in the dreams. I would wake up even in the middle of the night knowing that I was in the middle of this work, and I would just hear them like, okay, time to go back to bed. I'd go back to bed. After the second night, we were talking with my brother on the phone, and I felt there was something up in our stairwell.
Actually, we both did, but we didn't tell each other.
Yeah.
We're just like, oh, geez. And internally, man, I sensed something up there. We were home alone at the on the lower story, but we were hearing stuff too.
Yeah, so I don't know. I kept it to myself for a really long time before we actually started talking about it. And when I saw like a little head peek, that's when I told him like, no, we have visitors, and I've been feeling them here for a while, and there was like 2 different kinds.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been feeling them here too. And we did actually hear footsteps crossing our upper floor, like creak, creak, creak,
to
creak.
the stairwell.
Yeah.
And we're like, we gotta go. We have company. And after the second head peek, we're like, okay, we're off the phone. We started meditating, and it was really beautiful. I know I felt it was an opportunity to work through that fear in the moment, because it was coming up in terms of going, oh my gosh, it could really be happening. And they were very patient, and we both sensed a childlike energy, not that they were children.
Just more of like an innocence energy.
Just very curious, we both agreed, smaller in stature, so we always get excited when the information, when we both have the same.
And we'll do that on purpose. We won't actually tell each other anything for sometimes a long time, and then at the end we'll rehash what each person was talking, and they'll match.
Yes. So that was another opportunity to work through some fear, and I was so grateful to them for this opportunity, and I know that's what the other nights were about too. That night, we both were asked,
do you want to have a contact dream?
And again, we weren't talking to each other about it. And we both agreed. And we both, having a full night's rest, were utterly exhausted.
Oh my gosh. We both woke up like we had been up all freaking night. Yeah.
It was insane. We have not been that tired before. Absolutely exhausted. And I have heard from other groups that on certain contact dreams, I'm not entirely sure what it is, but you will wake up really exhausted. So that is a key note or notation.
Yeah.
That really was happening.
And then the next night came, and we both had that same hit, which was, do you want a contact dream? And in my mind, I'm like, no thanks, I'm so freaking tired. I've got to have rest tonight. And in her mind,
I'm like, yeah.
We didn't talk about it till the next day.
Yeah. So the next day, he's like, oh, so refreshed. And I'm like, I'm so tired. I woke up exhausted again. So just goes to show, contact dreams are very different. And I think they're always different. It depends on what group you are working with. And it depends what you're working on.
All right, so let's jump into a really awesome scenario that I was in not too long ago. At 2 a.m., we both woke up at the same time. There was no sound. Again, we're alone in the house, but we are wide awake, and we're thinking, should we get some work done?
Yeah.
But we weren't talking. We were just laying there, and I was thinking to myself, man, maybe I should get some work done.
More telepathically talking.
Yeah, and everything that we thought, we talked about the next day and was totally congruent. And then I felt like there was an ET being there wanting to do dream work. And I'm like, oh, that's why I'm awake. It took me 45 minutes to actually get it. But then I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm open for dream work. And then I said, it might take me a while to fall asleep. I'm pretty awake. And the being had sent back this feeling of patience. And the being looked like this. So he was very serious, very wanting to work. But I did not sense any malevolency. And I put up an energetic shield. And everything was fine, and he just waited. And so I had rolled over, and I actually went to sleep much faster than I thought I would. So during this time, what were you doing?
I was awake. I had also heard about dream work, but I was like, I wasn't really up for it that night, so I went back to bed too.
Right. So that night I had really vivid dreams, and the portions I recall is that she and I were part of a coalition off-world, different planet, and we were fighting against the Goa'uld. If you've ever watched Stargate, which we've kind of binge-watched on. And so it's a malevolent race who take over bodies. Anyway, so we were a part of a coalition to go against that force. And I recall in that dream, for some reason, we went into this building that was filled with cats. And there were cats everywhere, just a building to relax and pet cats. And so I recall petting this one particular cat, and he was like a white and black cat, but his tail was a neon yellow orange, like this vibrant neon yellow orange. And then a snippet of another dream was that I was swimming in water at Mount Shasta, beautiful, crystal clear, still water at Mount Shasta. So fast forward, I won't go through the entire dream, there was a lot that night, but those are the three that stuck out, the three portions that stuck out to me the most. So during the daytime, we went to our favorite grocery store, and there was a man there who started talking about a spring at Shasta and how great it is. And I'm like, oh, interesting. I dreamt about water at Shasta. And then we come home, and I see a feral black cat in our driveway. I never see cats there. The Homeowners Association does not allow any feral animals.
I have, but it's not common to see the cats.
Right, and I never have. And this was in our driveway. And I'm like, whoa, and it just stared right at me. And I get out and like, well, maybe I'll pet it. And it jumped away and just peeked from behind a tree, like staring at my eyes. I'm like, dreaming about cats, then I see a cat. Okay, premonition part 2. And then later that day, for the first time, I'm a mushroom hunter. I love finding mushrooms and studying mycology. I find for the first time something called chicken of the woods. And it looks like this. It's bright orange, it's bright yellow, and it's beautiful, just like the cat's tail that was a bright orange yellow that I dreamt about before. That's 3 premonitions in a row. And it was just mind-blowing that would happen, which confirmed to me that it really was ET contact.
We also then went on the weirdest CE5 we ever had last night. And what was odd is that, we're used to driving far sometimes for a CE5. It wasn't even late. It was like 10:30 when we got there. But it was cold. We're like, well, let's just meditate in the car. I had sensed we would have a car-based contact. What was interesting is right after our meditation, he and I were so utterly exhausted. They were like, man, we need to sleep. We ended up sleeping for over an hour, which is strange in our car.
No, usually we're pretty psyched at the CE5s.
And I recalled when I was just in that like in between state, I remember hearing, "Are you done yet?" It was just a very pleasant, "Oh, are you done?" And it took me about 10 or 15 minutes later, I realized that wasn't Ian talking to me. And I was convinced it was until I'm like, wait, that wasn't even his voice. It was some other male voice. And Ian also had...
Yeah, that's right. At one point, for some reason, I was also in the between state, and I was like, oh, my name is Ian. What's your name? and it came back, and I forget the name now, but it was some sort of super common male name, like, oh, I'm Bob, or I'm Frank, or Steve.
But it was a male. Then we
was.
both experienced a male being. And he also thought like someone had touched his thumb.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, I was resting with my hands in my lap, and I thought perhaps I had like involuntarily flicked my finger up and accidentally touched the steering wheel. But then I realized it was very cold, this poke, and I looked down. I woke up and I looked down. My finger could not have reached the steering wheel from where it was positioned. So something cool had poked my finger.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, you know, we're so tired. You know, we got out of the car, and then we're both wide-eyed again. Just, oh, well, we're back, you know, back to being really wide awake. We get back in the car, and we're like, maybe we should go. I'm like, no, I'm told we really need to stay. We get tired again and take another nap.
Just so incredibly exhausted and just weighed down by this.
And to fall asleep within just like a few minutes.
Yeah.
And then after that, we're going home. But it, again, was the most bizarre. We've never had that experience going out to do a CE5. So it's interesting that all these sleep-related incidences keep occurring. But again, it's really important to understand that dream work is the first step. It really is. It's for their safety. It's for your safety. They don't want to scare anybody. They want to help us work through things in the most comfortable way.
It feels like prep work. And that was the other dream I had that night that the ET came with that sort of bulbous head. He had ushered me into this room where it was like a little room with 3 other rooms attached to it. And when I went in there, all the rooms were filled with these ET figures, but they were deceased. And it was like a showroom, and I was able to look at all of these different figures. There was like an arachnid figure, which were this being alive, and we were to see in person for the first time, I would be very uncomfortable. But I was assured that everything is fine in this safe room. And there was like a Sasquatch being and other like very bizarre looking beings to our reality. Then I went and I sat down, and there was this particular being that was small, like maybe this big, and it was like a hand, but thicker fingers. And the hand, its fingers were more evenly spread apart, and it would walk like this, but it had passed. So I felt fine. It was like a male one, and then like a diminutive female one, very hairy. And peculiar, and I think that it was like testing my thing about disembodied hands, because I used to have a thing where like disembodied hands totally freaked me out, but I found it actually very interesting.
And for me, one of the ways that they worked through fear with me is they just showed themselves. So I was just shown this very calm being that literally was just standing in front of me, just allowing me that opportunity to work through it internally. And I remember doing that. I remember I wasn't outwardly afraid or doing anything. I knew I was safe, and I was given that opportunity to just go and kind of work that out, which I completely believe I was able to do. So it's whatever way is comfortable, and it's where you're at. It's all that divine timing. So if you really want to have that face-to-face interaction, please be aware of your dreams. Maybe start keeping a dream journal. Or if you're having trouble recalling your dreams, there are special stones such as, what's that blue one?
Howlite. Blue howlite.
So there's a blue howlite. That's really good for dream recall. And then just start documenting it, because the more you wake up remembering, the more you practice, the more it's effortlessly going to keep coming back. And that's a really valuable tool. And also, you can set intentions for your dreams. You can do a meditation, and you can state what your intention is, that you would like to work on some, contact work, or you're just open to it. But of course, always protect yourself. Everybody's listening to telepathy. And just setting that boundaries that you only want to work with positive, benevolent beings. Those basic groundwork is really important.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us today. We're so glad that we could share with you, what's been going on for us. We hope you have a great day.
All right, we'll see you next time.